You wake up in the morning, you swing your legs over the side of the bed, and for a moment you just sit there. Not because you're tired, because you already know what's coming. You're going to stand up, walk to the bathroom, and check your blood pressure. And that little machine is going to give you a number that makes your stomach drop. Again, you've tried cutting back on salt. You've tried walking more. You take your little pill every morning like a good soldier. And still, that number refuses to budge. It sits there, stubborn and high, like a door that's locked from the inside. And nobody has given you the right key. If that sounds familiar, I need you to stay right here, because what I'm about to share with you is not what your doctor told you at your last appointment. It is not just your age. It is not genetics. And it is definitely not your fault. What you are about to learn is something most people over 60 never hear until they've already been put on a third or fourth medication. And by the time we get to the middle of this conversation, you are going to understand something about your body that changes everything. My name is associated with this channel for a reason. At Dr. Silas Redford Wellness, we don't do surface-level health talk. We go deeper. We look at what the research actually says, and we translate it into plain, honest language for people who deserve real answers. People like you. If this is your first time here and you want to keep receiving this kind of information, please take just one moment to like this video and subscribe. It costs you nothing, and it means everything to this community. Now let's get into what's really going on with your blood pressure. Let me tell you about a woman named Margaret. She is 67 years old, lives outside of Columbus, Ohio, retired school teacher, raised 3 kids, takes care of her husband who has some mobility issues. Margaret has been on blood pressure medication for almost 9 years. The same medication, the same dose. And for the first 6 years, it worked fine. But over the last 2 years, something changed. Her numbers started creeping up. Her doctor added a second medication, then increased the dose of the first one, then added a water pill. And still, her blood pressure sits at 152/88 most mornings. Margaret feels like a failure. She tells herself she must be eating wrong. She must be stressed wrong. She must be aging wrong. But here's the truth that nobody has told Margaret. Her blood pressure isn't responding to treatment because her doctors have been looking in the wrong place. They have been treating the number, not the cause. What Margaret's doctor didn't look for is what we are going to talk about today. Because the real reason blood pressure becomes resistant to treatment after 60 has almost nothing to do with salt or stress or the things you hear about on television commercials. It has to do with a process happening deep inside your blood vessels, a process that changes how your body responds to every single medication you take. And when you understand it, everything clicks into place. Here is the first thing you need to know. Resistant hypertension, which is the medical term for blood pressure that stays high even when you are taking 3 or more medications, is not rare after 60. It is actually quite common, but here is what most doctors rarely explain. The reason it becomes so common is because the stiffness of your large arteries increases with age. Think of your arteries like rubber bands. When you are younger, they are stretchy and flexible. When your heart pumps blood into them, they expand easily, and your blood pressure stays in a healthy range. But after 60, those rubber bands start to harden. They become more like old garden hoses than flexible rubber. And when your heart pumps blood into stiff arteries, the pressure inside them spikes. Medications that work by relaxing the tiny blood vessels simply cannot overcome the problem of large, stiff, central arteries. That is why your numbers won't go down. You are trying to fix a plumbing problem while ignoring that the main pipes have turned to concrete. And the worst part is that most seniors never learn this. They just keep adding more pills, more side effects, more frustration, more mornings staring at that machine wondering what they are doing wrong. But that is only one piece of the puzzle. Stay with me, because what comes next is something that shocked researchers when the data first emerged. The second major reason your blood pressure won't go down after 60 is something called primary aldosteronism. Now that is a mouthful, so let me break it down simply. Aldosterone is a hormone produced by small glands sitting on top of your kidneys. Its job is to tell your body to hold on to salt and water. When aldosterone levels are normal, everything works fine. But in a surprising number of seniors, those little glands start producing too much aldosterone. Nobody knows exactly why it happens, but the effect is very clear. Too much aldosterone means your body holds on to too much salt and too much water. That increases your total blood volume, and more blood volume means higher blood pressure. Here is what makes this so important. Standard blood pressure medications do almost nothing to block aldosterone. There is one class of medication that does, but most doctors do not prescribe it as a first, second, or even third choice. So millions of seniors walk around with undiagnosed aldosterone problems, taking pills that were never designed to fix the actual mechanism driving their blood pressure high. Think about a man named Robert, 71 years old, lives in Boise, Idaho, retired construction worker. Robert has been on 4 different blood pressure medications for years. His numbers still run around 160/90. He has swelling in his ankles. He feels tired all the time. His doctor wanted to add a 5th medication, but Robert's daughter, who is a nurse practitioner, asked a simple question. Has anyone checked his aldosterone levels? The answer was no. They ran the test. His levels came back more than double what they should be. His doctor started him on a medication that specifically blocks aldosterone. Within 4 weeks, Robert's blood pressure dropped to 128/78. His ankle swelling went away. His energy came back. 4 weeks. 1 test. That is the difference between treating numbers and treating causes. Now let's talk about something that will surprise you. The third hidden reason your blood pressure won't go down after 60 might be sitting in your medicine cabinet right now. Over-the-counter pain relievers, specifically non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like ibuprofen, naproxen, and even high-dose aspirin. These medications are incredibly effective at reducing pain and inflammation, but they have a dark secret when it comes to blood pressure. They cause your body to retain sodium and fluid. They also interfere with the way most blood pressure medications work. Some studies have shown that taking ibuprofen regularly can raise systolic blood pressure by 5 to 10 points. That might not sound like much, but if your blood pressure is stuck at 150, that 5 to 10 points could be the difference between controlled and uncontrolled. And here's the cruel irony. Many seniors take these pain relievers for arthritis, back pain, or joint stiffness. The very pain that comes with aging. And then they take blood pressure pills that cannot work properly because the pain relievers are blocking them. Nobody connects the dots. The same person who cannot figure out why their blood pressure won't go down is the same person taking 2 ibuprofen every morning just to get out of bed. And the worst part is how easy this is to fix, and how rarely it gets fixed because no doctor has asked the right question. Let me tell you about Walter. You met Walter in a previous video. He is the retired pharmacist from Wisconsin. But what I did not tell you last time is that Walter also struggled with resistant blood pressure for years. He was taking 3 medications. His numbers would not budge. He was also taking naproxen every single day for knee pain. His doctor never asked about over-the-counter medications. Walter never volunteered the information because he did not think it mattered. When he finally stopped the naproxen at his daughter's suggestion and switched to a different pain management strategy, his blood pressure dropped 20 points over the next 3 weeks. His doctor was shocked. Walter was relieved. And a simple conversation about a common pain reliever changed everything. Now I want to address something that rarely gets discussed in blood pressure conversations: sleep. Or more specifically, undiagnosed sleep apnea. After 60, the risk of sleep apnea increases significantly. The tissues in your throat become less firm. Weight changes affect your airway. And sleep apnea does something very specific to your blood pressure. Every time you stop breathing during the night, even for a few seconds, your body panics. It releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Those hormones spike your blood pressure. Then you start breathing again, your blood pressure drops, and then you stop breathing again, and it spikes again. This happens dozens or even hundreds of times per night. Your blood pressure never gets a chance to rest. By morning, your cardiovascular system is exhausted, and your daytime blood pressure readings reflect that battle. Here's what most doctors rarely explain. Standard blood pressure medications do not fix sleep apnea. They cannot. Because sleep apnea is a mechanical problem, not a chemical one. You can take all the pills in the world, but if you stop breathing 100 times a night, your blood pressure will stay high. Treating the sleep apnea, often with something as simple as a CPAP machine, can drop blood pressure by 10 to 15 points within weeks. But first, someone has to ask the question, do you snore loudly? Does anyone ever tell you that you stop breathing during sleep? Let's bring everything together into something practical, because I know that information without direction can feel overwhelming. And the last thing I want is for you to leave this conversation feeling more anxious than when you arrived. If your blood pressure has been stuck despite taking your medications, here is what I want you to consider taking action on. First, ask your doctor if arterial stiffness might be playing a role. There are specific medication classes, like calcium channel blockers, that work better on stiff arteries than others. Second, ask for a simple blood test called plasma renin activity and aldosterone level. It is a straightforward test that could identify a treatable hormonal cause. Third, take a hard look at your over-the-counter medications. If you take ibuprofen, naproxen, or even regular high-dose aspirin, ask your doctor about alternatives. Fourth, Get evaluated for sleep apnea if you snore or feel exhausted during the day. And finally, be honest with yourself about your water intake. Chronic mild dehydration thickens your blood and makes your heart work harder. And as we discussed before, your thirst mechanism becomes less reliable after 60. Drink water on a schedule, not just when you feel thirsty. These are not dramatic interventions. They are not expensive, but they are the kinds of changes that, compounded over weeks and months, produce the kind of improvements that people describe as life-changing. Margaret, the retired schoolteacher from Ohio, finally pushed her doctor to check her aldosterone levels. They were high. She started a low-dose medication that specifically blocks aldosterone. Within 6 weeks, her blood pressure dropped to 130/80 for the first time in 3 years. She stopped blaming herself. She stopped feeling like a failure. She started sleeping better because the fear was gone. Robert from Boise got a sleep study. He was diagnosed with severe sleep apnea. He started using a CPAP machine. Within a month, his blood pressure came down enough that his doctor reduced 2 of his 4 medications. He told his daughter that he felt like a different person. That is not magic. That is what happens when someone stops accepting the answer, "just add another pill," and starts asking better questions. You have spent decades taking care of other people, your family, your job, your community. And now I want to ask you, sincerely and directly, to show up for yourself in the same way. Not because your best years are behind you, because they may not be. Because your body has a remarkable capacity to respond at any age when it is finally given what it actually needs. The high number on that machine does not have to be permanent. The frustration does not have to become your new normal. The fear of another medication does not have to define your future. Small steps lead to real change. One question at your next doctor's appointment. One honest look at your medicine cabinet. One conversation about sleep. These are not small things. These are the beginning of reclaiming the health that is still yours to have. If today gave you something, whether it answered a question you have been carrying or opened a door you did not know existed, I would love for you to share this with someone who needs to hear it. A friend who keeps complaining about their numbers. A parent who has been put on yet another pill. A neighbor who has given up hope. You sharing this video could genuinely change the trajectory of someone's health. And please leave a comment below. Have you been experiencing resistant blood pressure? Have you found something that helped? Your experience is valuable, and this community grows stronger every time someone speaks up. We are all in this together, and that matters more than most people realize. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one.